for all that Trump has claimed that he's absolutely crushing it, everything's going well, he's so happy. At one point, he's asked about, are you disappointed that Putin didn't show up to a meeting? And he went, how could I be disappointed about anything? I'm on top of the world. We got trillions and trillions being invested in the United States. And we're taking credit for Biden-era agreements with Middle Eastern nations in part. He does seem to have a lot of bottled up rage, despite all of that. Maybe he knows what we know, which is that this isn't going as well as he'd hoped. And I have so many examples of that on his rage sesh on True Social. So let's just jump into it. Aaron Rupar highlighting this one, saying, is Trump now threatening to prosecute Beyonce? I feel like there's a few people you just don't go after. And that's Beyonce. Unless I'm missing something, is kind of a typically uncontroversial figure. And Taylor Swift. And in this rage bender, he went after both. Beyonce and Taylor Swift. According to news reports, Beyonce, this is Trump on Truth Social, was paid $11 million to walk onto a stage, quickly endorse Kamala, and walk off to loud booing for never having performed. Now, I'll debunk this in a second. Obviously, that's not true, but we'll keep reading. Not even one song. Remember the Democrats and Kamala illegally paid her millions of dollars for doing nothing other than giving Kamala a full-throated endorsement? This is an illegal election scam at the highest level. It's an illegal campaign contribution. Bruce Springsteen, Oprah, Bono, and perhaps many others have a lot of explaining to do. That's early in the morning. I wake up in the morning ranting about Beyonce. Newsweek reports unverified social media posts have said as far back as November that Harris paid millions of dollars, but FCC records show that not to be the case. However, and it talks about what we went through with LeBron and Oprah, and whenever they do these shared events, the campaign funds the production, obviously. And so I never am claiming that nothing strange happened with the amount that was spent and maybe it not being efficient enough and going in all different directions. But my goodness, they come up with new and absurd claims. And in reality, not 11 million, but to the production company that is, associated with Beyonce, because there was a production being done there and it was $165,000. And the other one was like $10,000, $50,000 or something to LeBron's production company because they did a joint ad together. And what we talked about before was, do you think any of these people with the wealth they have would go from not wanting to endorse Kamala to endorsing her for, to them, a very small amount of money? And to risk that sort of scandal? None of it makes any sense, which is why he can't even tell the truth and say $165,000 went to a production company for a production. It has to be $11 million for Beyonce to endorse Kamala. It's laughable, but in response, MAGA accounts like MAGA Voice said Donald Trump announced at 1:34 a.m. that Kamala Harris is getting investigated. Trump is a machine. TikTok, Kamala Harris, good luck. Now,
okay, I'm going to throw up. I'm throwing up. You're making me throw up.
Exactly. He didn't say that she was going to be investigated, but I guess you could assume that. And this is serious. He then went on, and Aaron Rupar captioned this saying, oh boy, I was in bed when Trump posted this absolute insanity overnight. Oh gosh, okay. Me. Okay. How much did Kamala Harris pay Bruce Springsteen for his poor performance during her campaign for president? Why did he accept that money if he's such a fan of hers? Isn't that a major and illegal campaign contribution? What about Beyonce? And how much went to Oprah and Bono? I'm going to call for a major investigation in this matter. I guess he is calling for investigation. Wow. Candidates aren't allowed to pay for endorsements, which is what Kamala did under the guise of paying for entertainment. In addition, this was a very expensive and desperate effort to artificially build up her sparse crowds. It's not legal for these unpatriotic entertainers. This was just a corrupt and unlawful way to capitalize on a broken system. Thank you for your attention to this matter. At 12:34 a.m. I think that's our time. So 1:30. MAGA Voice was right. Not about the Trump being a machine part, but about him calling for an investigation. In the middle of the night. Like an absolute lunatic. You won, bro. Hey, brah, you won. Chill.
Why are you the way that you are?
It's psychotic. And this whole calling for investigations of his political enemies based off of lies is serious. He's doing it also in this bender with ABC, saying, why doesn't Chairman Bob Iger do something about ABC fake news? Especially since I just won $16 million based on the fake and defamatory reporting of little George Slapadopoulos. He was given warnings, but just couldn't be restrained by management. And he goes on to say they are misreporting, which they're not, on Trump's jumbo jet that's being gifted to the country, but that reportedly will be transferred to his presidential library for his usage after his administration. If that's not the case anymore, all right, but tell us that. But that's how it was originally laid out. And the reason why him bringing up the specific names of the leaders of companies and wanting them to change the leadership is because media companies are changing their coverage of him because of these threats. Before getting into the latest example, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. It's free. And then a step further, which is not free, to be honest, but it's awesome if you can do it, is the join button below. Mediaite reports CBS News CEO Wendy McMahon quits amid network clashes with Trump. We saw the executive producer, longtime executive producer, left for the same reason, which is that Sherry Redstone, the controlling shareholder of Paramount, the parent company of CBS, really wants to sell and push forward this merger so that she can make money and so that, they can happen. You know what I mean? I think I saw that in a legal document, so that she can happen, right? That's Sherry Redstone's goal. And to facilitate that, she's willing, because Trump's administration is holding this merger hostage, she's willing to pay into Trump's personal pocket money, admit wrongdoing is what it seems like we're headed towards, or at least before the merger goes through, suppress particularly negative stories about Trump so that she can have this deal go through. The resignation comes after months of turmoil stemming from Paramount's controlling shareholder Sherry Redstone's efforts to sell the company, her meddling in the newsroom of CBS, and she reportedly sought to rein in its coverage in order to appease the Trump administration and pave the way for a sale. It's believed to have led to the resignation of Bill Owens, who I mentioned, the widely respected executive producer of 60 Minutes. So now you have the CEO saying, I can't do this. We're supposed to be journalistically independent. And now executives are trying to come in and change that because Trump is attacking the First Amendment. It's become clear, McMahon said, that the company and I do not agree on the path forward. It's time for me to move on and for this organization to move forward with new leadership. So when he's threatening Kamala, he's threatening Beyonce, he's threatening ABC and threatening CBS, real consequences come of it. And meanwhile, we are watching the First Amendment slip away. Another thing, I won't even entertain it, but another thing he posted was one of these conspiratorial videos about how the Clintons have had everyone killed. Your family, my family. Well, they've all been killed by the Clintons. Everyone's been killed. No one's alive. Everyone's dead. And this has been circulated so many times, and every single time, why won't anyone look into this? Everyone's looked into it, and the same thing comes up, which is that these are unsubstantiated claims. But after posting this, you have MAGA figure Patrick Bet-David saying, the reason why Trump's posting a video that accuses the Clintons of the most heinous crimes, even though they've been disproven time and time again, is because he's doing 40 jazz.
I love what the president does. He gets ahead of the enemy, knowing what manipulation and games are happening behind closed doors. This is my opinion. Last 2 days have been horrible days for Comey. Comey, in his eyes, he hurt Hillary Clinton in 2016 with the election president week before.
Try to follow this, okay? I beg you. Trump posted a video accusing Clinton of killing a bunch of former aides. Try to follow what the reasoning is.
And he's trying to make it up, okay? All right, so Hillary is tied to Comey. President Trump may have found out something that's going on behind closed doors that nobody else knows about. Mm-hmm. He's getting ahead of it, and it's just putting the pressure to say, hey, if you even think about doing any of your divisive stuff, Hillary, I'm going to expose you in ways you've never been exposed before. If you even come close to it, I think that's what's going on. And if that's the case, I like getting ahead of it, and I like playing offense.
Not going to say anything about the TikTok outro. Not going to say anything about the TikTok outro. Not going to say anything about the TikTok outro. Okay. Well, that's an option. Maybe that's why he did it. It's probably so fun being them. Do you ever think about that? Like, it's probably, because I don't think that they're coming at it in bad faith necessarily, but their brains just get to run wild. Imagine how fun that is, just to think maybe the reason why Trump posted that, which it was obviously he just scrolled and saw it on Truth Social and went, that's funny. This probably doesn't look good for Hillary, post. But really it's because he knows something behind the scenes about how Comey is going to be targeted by Hillary next. And so if Comey's targeted, I can pay him back for hurting Hillary's campaign and prevent further death by posting this, and it's a warning shot to Hillary. And so then that will do something, because even though I'm saying Comey needs to go to jail and I actually want him to suffer, I'm doing it to prevent her from doing bad stuff. It's just, but it's fun. Like, it's probably so fun to be them. If you just release yourself, the drug that is releasing yourself of the truth seems to be hot right now among a lot of these folks. They seem to be high on their own supply of whatever that is. On to more of Trump's post. He said the Supreme Court won't allow us to get criminals out of our country. And by that, he means they go, maybe we should have like some due process. And he's upset about it. He also said whoever had control of the autopin is looking to be a bigger and bigger scandal by the moment. It is a major part of the real crime that the presidential election of 2020 was rigged and stolen. How does that connect is another question people are asking. The election was stolen by the autopin. How'd you do it, buddy? How'd you steal the election from Trump? You son of a gun, you're a genius. You're so good at what you do, autopin. You stuffed ballots. It was so genius of you. And then he says, millions and millions of people knew that, but the radical left Democrats waged a campaign of inoculation and innocence like none that had ever been waged before. This is why the unselect committee of political thugs who were given a full and complete pardon by the person who wielded the now illegally used autopin deleted and destroyed all evidence and information from their corrupt and vicious witch hunt against me and many other people whose lives were and destroyed by this historically criminal event. No, none of this is true. It doesn't make sense. They have the only president who's on the record denying signing something that they signed is Donald J. Trump. He's the only one, okay? Remember, it all began with dirty cop James Comey. See, so what was the PPD conspiracy? None of it why can y'all at least like sync your conspiracies? It's a little confusing. Obama and did I almost say unironically Obama? I have been broken. Trump has broke me. Obama and hapless and cognitively impaired sleepy Joe Biden and my now very famous accusation that they spied on my campaign. Whoever had control of the autopin is just the beginning. The biggest crime of all is that the 2020 presidential election was rigged. MAGA, won the election by millions of votes and everyone knows it. God bless America, for the fight has just begun. So we have a sitting president who's the president. Does that make sense? So he's the sitting president because he's the president. Just really get that through your head. He is the president, the one in the whole world of the United States. And he's still ranting about his delusional conspiracy theories about the election being stolen. But all of that is founded on him just not having to accept a loss. He can't have the character to accept that he lost even after he went on to win a subsequent election. Do we have to keep doing this? Then he posted, the Supreme Court has just ruled that the worst murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and even those who are mentally insane who came into our country illegally are not allowed to be forced out without going through a long, protracted, and expensive legal process. No. First of all, you don't have, people picture like a full criminal trial or something. We're talking about they need to have a proper hearing. Those don't have to be super long and protracted. And if we invested more in broader immigration reform, we could make that more efficient, more immigration judges, etc. And that's something that they never want to do. They have done a lot on the border. I've acknowledged that. But then the broader reform of immigration, they're not willing to do, which is a part of the problem as well. If we don't fix it, we're going to keep having this cycle. But it's just making sure that when he says they're drug dealers, gang members, and mentally insane, that's who they are. And that you're not, for example, wrongfully deporting Andrew, who we still don't have any update on. And then he said about Walmart, for saying that the tariffs are causing their prices to go up. He said, I'll be watching, and so will your customers. What a nice store you have over there. It'd be a shame if all of your televisions exploded. And then we already talked about this, but he said, has anyone noticed that since I said I hate Taylor Swift, she's no longer hot? The sitting president, after screaming about two elections ago being stolen, is now talking about the hotness of Taylor Swift. Now he puts it in quotes because he means like trendy, popular, but it's so weird. And he, in one rant throughout the night, went both after, as I mentioned, Taylor Swift, or this maybe wasn't the same night, but in one week went after Taylor Swift and Beyonce, which I thought you would just kind of go up in dust if you did that. I didn't know that cosmically that was allowed. You can be mean to both Beyonce and Taylor Swift and not just evaporate. It's very impressive. Insane. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And as I said before, please do get the bonus show by clicking the join button below.